What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Flan Speaks back with another video. Alright, so Chicago Sky. Alright, so basically the story of this game is Chicago Sky at home. Alright, so at home, host the Atlanta Dream. Okay, it's Atlanta Dream's flying all the way from Atlanta. On their way there, they're like, yeah, we got Chicago Sky. No Angel Reese. You know what I'm saying? So look, ladies, what we can do, man? We can go over to Harold's Chicken. We can go over to that nice little. It's this nice little Italian spot, man, downtown. That make that real thick ass Chicago Sky pizza, and then they make those sandwiches, right? That Chicago spot where they take like a skirt steak and then they fry it, right? And then they dip it in marinara sauce, okay? And then they fill it with mozzarella, close it in this big, nice soft bun, wrap it up, right? And then they also make a chicken sandwich that they dip in some garlic butter sauce, okay? So Atlanta had all that planned. They said, look, we can go eat at this place, man. We can go do all these different things and, be full when we start the game and we sluggish. But that's all right because we know by third quarter, all we got to do is just decide, all right, now it's time to play and whip Chicago's ass, right? So that's basically what happened last night. I think the Atlanta Dream came in full off of eating some of those sandwiches. They may have did a little bit of shopping. I'm not quite sure where you go shopping in Chicago because when I was in Chicago, I just went to eat, honestly. I was over my homie crib and all that. We went to eat. What I wanted to do when I was in Chicago was, and I was really disappointed. I wanted to go see the projects that where Good Times was filmed at. That was my dream. Then when I go to Chicago, I wanted to go to where I wanted to see the projects that JJ and James Evans, and my girl Thelma lived at. That's what I wanted to see, right? Unfortunately, those projects have been destroyed, right? And there's something else in that place. I was like, damn, man. I was really disappointed, right? So I know the Atlanta Dream, like Alisha Gray and them, they probably was like, damn, I wanted to see the Good Time projects too, Or maybe she's too young to know about Good Times. I don't know. But at any rate, right, the story of this game, Chicago Sky, in Chicago Sky fashion, come out. Man, all this energy, man, 18 points, 15, got us thinking, damn, you know what? We might be able to do this. We just won a game against the Mystics. We might be able to do this, right? Now, me, the whole time, I'm looking. You see, the problem with it wasn't that Chicago was up. It's just that the Atlanta scored 15 points, right? And Chicago scored 18. When you look at the fact that Atlanta scored 15 points, that means it's they have very little give a damn ability about the game. They're looking at it like, well, let's just get through this first half, right? That's really what happened because if you look at the second quarter, Atlanta scores 13 points, okay? Alisha Gray is not really serious, just playing around this and that. Chicago getting their hopes up, they're going to halftime with the lead, scored 18 in their first half. You got Unzu, and all these new players thinking they're doing something, right? Let me see. Let me go to the box scores to get like just a little bit accurate feel for. I give an accurate picture of what was happening here. Okay, so beginning of the game, you got Camilla doing something. You got Rachel Banham, who really thought she was doing something. Ariel Atkins again turned into, the Ariel that we don't need, which is the Ariel that just doesn't want to shoot the ball. The Ariel that's trying to set up our bum teammates and stuff like that. Unless you're passing it to Camilla Cardoso, Ariel, there's no need to give them the ball, Ariel. There's no need. I would never get mad at you, Ariel, if you just freeze out Rachel Banham. Matter of fact, I would like you more if you freeze out Rachel Banham. I would like you more if you freeze out Kia Nurse and Rebecca Allen and who else? Who else we got here? I'm not going to pick on Haley. I'm not going to pick on Maddie, right? Uzun, okay, you can freeze her out too. Okay, I would never get mad if Ariel goes out there and shoots 20 shots to score 25 points. Why? Because them 25 points, Ariel, helps me more than the 8 points that you gave me. Even if it's inefficient, right? Because then I'd rather see Camilla Cardoso in a situation where she's going after a rebound that you missed over you passing it to Kia Nurse so she can just kaboingy, boingy, boingy, right, up against the rim. That's the sound like when the ball just hits the rim, right? You got E. Will, who I didn't expect much from this time. Why? Because, E. Will goes out and gives us, I think, 19 last game. So that tells you this game she'll probably give you 8. That's about right. Players of that level, right? They're not going to consistently score 19 or 12 or anything like that. That's why they're on the bench, right? And really, I don't have a problem with he Will as my backup. Now it bothers me when I can look over at the Sparks and their backup is a Cameron Brink, right? That's their backup five, and my backup five is E Will. That's what bothers me. But other than that, that's not her fault. That's more of a fault on the part of Jeff Spagliola. Okay, Jeff Spicoli. Right. If you ever saw Fast Times at Ridgemont High, you would know what I mean. Like now, I'm kind of probably giving away my age. You got that. You got Ariel Atkins don't want to shoot. She just shoots 8 shots. Now, what's crazy? She makes 4 out of 8, which is 50%. That's why I want her shooting more. You know, uh, Cardoso, 12 shots, 6 of 12. That's great. That means I'd rather see Cardoso shoot 20 times, right? Or 18 times, something like that. Rachel Banham takes 12 shots that I don't want to see. She did hit 6 of them, so I guess maybe I shouldn't be mad. I just still don't care. I don't need to see Rachel Banham score 18. I just don't. All right, so what do we got going on from the bench? Maddie Westbelt, okay, got 15 minutes this time. And I see why she doesn't get that many minutes. Now, she wasn't bad from the floor. She's shown me a couple of things. She has a little bit of an ability to stretch the floor. She's nice to look at, just being honest. Can score, right? But her defense, right, was some of the worst stuff I've ever seen yesterday. You had players like, who was this player? Coffee. Yeah, yeah. Nia Coffee was just making shots on Maddie Westbell that I thought were just like, oh, I mean, it was crazy. So listen, Maddie may not become a stopper. Can't expect you to be Cam Brink, but you know, work on that because that'll get you more minutes, right? Either be a vicious rebounder, or a stopper on defense, or just a deterrent on defense. And maybe I can make an argument for you to be out there because I don't mind her being out there because she's not bad to look at, right? So, um, you know, so this is a game where Griner didn't play and Ryan Howard didn't play, but somehow Chicago still managed to lose by what's that? 30, 31. Yeah, no, 21. Yeah, 65-86, 21. Okay, 21-31. What's the difference? All right, so Michaela comes out there, 16 points, only 2 points. I would have gave her a little bit more minutes, and the reason being is she just gives me more effort than some of these other players. But I guess she's 104, and she's one of those players that Tyler March has a quick leash on, right? Michaela go out there and miss 3 shots. She has to sit, whereas, Bantam can go out there and miss 20 of them, and he'll still have confidence in her. But it could be that that's coming from the top. Like, I was kind of always assuming Marsh just loves Bantam, but it could be that Jeff P loves Bantam and he's telling him, yo, Bantam got to play. Could be people on top of him telling him Bantam got to play because of the money she's making. Yeah, I really don't know what's going on back there. Anytime you got a situation where you got fathers, you know, Tyler Marsh calling his dad to cuss the team out because he don't have the heart to do it. I don't know anything is possible with this particular team. Anything is possible with this particular team. All right. So, um, the Rebecca Allen things. She has a pretty good game the other day. This time she scores 5 points. But look, she's 2 or 3 from the field. All right, so maybe Rebecca Allen should have shot a little bit more this particular game. I don't know. Kia Nurse just being Kia Nurse, 2 points. I don't expect more than that. Also, her the one problem Kia Nurse has is just she has this allergy, right? And it's this allergy towards hustling. So, there's loose balls and stuff like that. The kid nurse is like, shit, I am not diving for that damn ball. I ain't running for that shit. I ain't doing none of that. I ain't pulling no hamstring for none of these motherfuckers. Right? I can just tell kid nurse kind of got a little bit of that in her. And I get it. So, but this is who Jeff P got. Right? So it's not kid nurse's fault. She is who she is. Jeff P. It's his job to know that, this was a lazy player, who's limited athletically. And cool as a person. I've seen her on interviews with Keyshawn Johnson. I was like, wow, this is a cool girl, but she's probably should be a coach right now, and teach. I don't know what she could really teach. Maybe fundamentals of shooting or something, but playing, I just don't. I don't think it's for her. I really don't, unless she's like one of the players that rarely comes in. Because I'm like, all right, you're giving Kia Nurse 16 minutes. You might as well give Haley Van Lifton 16 minutes just so we can figure out whether or not she's going to be a WNBA player or not. Like, why not? What is the benefit in giving Nurse those minutes? You kind of should know by now what she is, okay? And you should have made a decision that, you know what? Might as well just develop the other players. We won, what, 8 games this year? We're lucky if we win 10, maybe, right? So what's the point? What's the point? All right, so basically, like I said, we get to this second half of the game, and this is when Atlanta decided to wake up. All right, so this is how you know that the first half. Excuse me. That's how you know the first half wasn't real. 15 points in the first quarter for Atlanta, 13 points, right? In the second quarter. We go into the break, 5 point lead. Okay, Chicago thinking, yeah, do something. Come out in the third quarter. All right, Atlanta rips off 32 points in the third quarter. All right, let me say that again. 15 points right in the first quarter for Atlanta. 13 points in the second quarter. In the third quarter, 32. You know what that's called? That's called, all right, let's play now. You know what I'm saying? Tired of messing with you little kids. We about to bust your ass in front of y'all family, in front of the Chicago fan base who just is so patient with y'all. We're going to go ahead and bust your ass in front of them, okay? And you know how many points Chicago scored in that third quarter? 18. So they got beat by 32 to 18 in that quarter. All right, so by then, after the end of the third quarter, Chicago pretty much quit then. So you see in the last quarter, Chicago scores 13. That's called, all right, we can't win. So that's why it's 13. And then Atlanta ended off with 26-point quarter. So they had 15-point quarter, 13-point quarter, 32 and 26-point quarter. Okay? That means they were just effing with you. And then shit got real. And there you have it. Typical day in Chicago for the Sky, especially without injuries. Peace out.